Alright guys, good evening. Nice to have you in the stream again. So I'm gonna do another late night stream, UBOAT again. So the last weeks I started to kind of switch a bit between UBOAT and DayZ, my long-term favorite streaming games. And over the weekend I used to do UBOAT, like tonight. So here we are. And if you are not familiar with what I'm doing here, you see it's about the Second World War. It's a submarine simulation, like everybody would have guessed. And this game is situated in a beautifully immersive open world where you actually do have the whole world modeled. You can just go anywhere, although, well, limited of course by your fuel range. But while I started on a very small low range Time 2 submarine in the beginning of the war 2.5 years ago, now 2.5 years into the war, I quite earned my merit, and by now am the proud captain of a Type 7C submarine, which has quite some considerable range, and I am able to place certain milk cows across the Atlantic, so that, even my beautiful long-range boat that I have now is limited in range, and so, patrolling the US coast is only possible actually and realistic when you have some supply ship off the coast where you can refuel after you have done the passage and refuel before you do the passage back to Europe. So I am still at the beginning of a new patrol. This is my designated patrol area. It's part of the so-called Operation Drumbeat, Operation Paukenschlag. And we patrol these areas here to early interfere with the US convoys going over the pond to support the war against Germany. So we already finished the first 2 parts of this operation, and to finish the last one now we have finally have to sink another 100,000 tons, or roughly 90,000 tons left, and that's quite a bit to achieve that. So we are on the way. Let's briefly check our situation. Our fuel is almost full again because we refueled at the so-called Milk Cow, a large bulky submarine. You could even, we also got some food there. Let's check the galley. We are quite fine. We have 3 different foods and quite some food backup around here. The moral of the crew, the discipline is fine, although we were at sea quite a long time. We just had a short stopover back home and went into the next mission, so fatigue is gonna increase this. You can only counter the fatigue of the crew by giving it a prolonged shore leave between 2 missions, and I was not willing to do that now, so maybe I will have to give the crew another prolonged shore leave of, say, something like 3 weeks after this mission. But these missions on the other side of the ocean really take a while. The last mission was more than 30 days, more than a month that we were underway. Now, Yeah, we have a full complement of torpedoes. Here you see Mr. Schneider just finishing the maintenance of one of the torpedoes. And here we have T3 torpedoes and T1 torpedoes. And yeah, even one sound-seeking torpedo. Yeah, the T3 are the electric ones, the T1 are the steam-powered ones. And in the stern torpedo, as I used to have it, I have one sound-seeking torpedo in the tubes and one spare. So this is pretty nice if you get followed by a man of war, by an escort. You could fire that stern torpedo with the fire and forget torpedo sound-seeking, and would actually, if you don't need too much luck then to actually sink that man of war on your tail. It actually saved my life something like twice at least to have that stern torpedo. So just a bit of water in the bilge. Let's turn on the pump. And yeah, we are going with cruise speed. We are surfaced. So that's the status so far. And yeah, this game is really open world, so encounters are not kind of scripted, but yeah, there are real trade routes modeled and convoys passing over the map in the background, and yeah, we have to be so lucky to run into one of them and start sinking it. So we are really going to do a search pattern then in this area and gonna chase down ships. So the trick is that now and then you do a hydrophone check, which means you get to 50 meters under the sea, and down there everything's quiet and your hydrophone has an enormous range, so that within a circle of 70 to 90 miles or kilometers, not kilometers, miles, nautical miles, you would detect just any propeller moving, and that helps a lot. Okay, so let's make sure that our navigation precision keeps up. So Mr. Trummel is our officer of the watch. Let's have him do some navigational homework. It's 7 o'clock in the evening. But yeah, this is pretty amazing because obviously the time that we have here is not the local time but Berlin time. So see, it's 10 o'clock and the sun is still up. Yeah, well, it's mid of summer, so nightfall is late, but not that late locally. So what we have here is the effect that the set of the sun is later than you would have it, because we have not, the chronometer doesn't show the local time, but Berlin or, I don't know, European Greenwich time probably. Hey, weight loss. Good evening, how are you doing? So it's Friday evening, week is over, and yeah, hope you had a good day and a good and smooth jump out of the week at the verge of the weekend. Okay, we don't. Yeah. So this is a bit of micromanagement that I do to save fuel, actually. Yep. Yeah, that's what the basement is good for, to store stuff. So over the years, a lot of stuff is accumulating. Which you grow fond of and you don't want to quit or get rid of. Yeah. Yeah, after our last move 2 years ago, that was a bit of a trouble because now we're living in a, well, very old historical building in the old town. And yeah, it doesn't have a basement. So we really had to kind of reorganize our way of storing all the stuff. And yeah, we really have to go through all the stuff that we have, and we did actually after, or just before our last move. We really scanned through our stuff and got rid of quite a lot, but there's still so much, yeah, just stuff which you don't want to get rid of. But maybe you will never need it, never use it again. That's at least our situation. Nah, not the deckhand, so please do the navigation. And on we go. Okay, time 10 o'clock. Yeah, still nice weather, good view. And on we go. Now it's lunchtime and afternoon, and we are slowly approaching our target area.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Wird erledigt, Herr Kanol.
Navigation besetzen.
Yeah, give it another little save. Call it W210. Yeah, let's check when the sun does actually set around here.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Bestätige.
What about? No, it's, yeah, okay, 11 o'clock. The sun was setting at roughly 11 o'clock, and there it is down, but still close to the horizon. 11 o'clock in the evening, and we still have plenty of light. Yeah, that's so nice. See the guy on the bridge. There, that's us in the middle of nowhere. In the endless ocean, stretching from one horizon to the other. And yeah, that's the captain actually, on watch. And yeah, by the way, guys, great that you joined. Nice to have you in the stream. Just see the numbers. So watch anonymously, that's perfectly fine. Or participate in the chat, which would even be greater. Or maximum mega greatness. Give me a follow if you like what you see. So yeah, but maybe most of the guys in the stream might be already following. Not sure. As I said, I can't see it. And there we are. We have reached the patrol area. So we can activate Mr. Breen. He's off watch, and so we just briefly wake him up and let him do the radio operation and report to the headquarters that we actually have reached the patrol area, and this will give us a bit of a reward of 350 Reichsmark.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, it's night by now. 2 o'clock in the morning. So let's have him back to bed and carry on a bit into the area. By the way, let's check what is the area where we can sink ships. So if we sink ships in these sectors, we get that tonnage accounted for. Operation Drumbeat to increase the number of tonnage here in the bar. So it's BB and CB. BB and CB. So yeah, that's actually the range. So let's get a little bit further in.
Navigation besetzen.
Yeah, okay, come on, let's do a hydrophone check around here.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
So what does this mean? This is a standard workflow, which means, yeah, you see all the crew running to the front compartment. Yeah, the off-watch crew actually, and the watch manning the depth steers. You see here, and somebody, now Mr. Arlos is gonna open the valves, which now allows to have the ballast tanks being flooded with sea water. Now here you see that the depth steers are going down, bringing us down, and now it's just something like, yeah, a matter of a few minutes and we will start to dive. Yeah, this is one of the great features of the game, that you really have this kind of delay where you don't just press buttons, but you give orders and people execute orders, and then the ship is gonna react. And finally, yeah, what is the crew doing? The crew brings the boat down to 50 meters, stops the engines there, and then we are gonna do 5 minutes of silent listening, having quite some enormous listening range.
Meter.
Yeah, okay, yes, of course you need a little bit of coziness when your parents pass by. Yep. And yeah, about the meat,
50 Meter.
yeah, I have to keep that in mind. I think at the moment I'm not in the mood to actually do beer brewing. It's just so much effort, but yeah. Doing meat is also quite some effort, but in comparison to brewing beer, it's okay. So I think I'm gonna do some meat. Let's see, maybe I should do that before Christmas. Yeah, the malting, exactly. The malting is really something, and you don't have to do the filtering as well. The filtering is also quite some effort. So here we are. Do you? So when you do meat, do you filter it? I mean, you have the yeast. So if you want to have it really clear, that's it, right? I mean, for the beer, you actually have to get the malt out. Yeah, okay. So you wouldn't have it naturtrüb, yeah? So, yeah. I remember when I did it with beer that while the fermentation was going on, the dead yeast was actually just sinking to the bottom of the barrel. And so in the end, you would just get the beer out and try not to stir up what you have at the bottom. And you could do it without filtering. But of course you would still have some stuff in. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Collected from the top. Yeah, and that's really nice if you have this wonderful amber color. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, great. Good luck with the meat. And yeah, you really reminded me of that already a few days ago. Think I'm gonna do that. I pretty much like meat, and I pretty much like DIY stuff. I mean, I'm not the DIY guy in the household, so I hate meddling around with the hardware and doing stuff, repairing stuff and things like that. That's really something that I don't like at all, but everything that's related with preparing food or drink, that's just great for me. So at the moment, it looks like there is nothing around.
Ja? Herr Kapitän?
No sounds. Ah, come on, the cheap viewer spots again. Ah, okay, yep. As far as I know from my own experience for beer and also for self-made cider, it's also like you could put the beer or the cider into bottles and put them upright into the shelves, and if you let them in the bottle for also just like something 3 or 4 weeks, then everything would settle down and build some pretty compact layer at the bottom. And then if you carefully pour the bottle into the glass and leave a little bit at the bottom, you also get it relatively clear. But if you do have the means to filter it, I'm sure it's even better for, yeah, getting the wonderful color, wonderful clear.
25 Meter.
And there we are going back to the surface and having had no any contact in that enormous range. So that's the game.
5 Meter.
That's what the game is like.
Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Herr Kaloin, wir sind aufgetaucht.
So
Kurs setzen.
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
let's set some course and continue.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Natürlich, Herr Kaloin.
Okay, maybe another hour and let's do another hydrophone check.
Könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Tauchen auf.
Yeah, guys,
35 Meter.
time it's early afternoon. We are on a northern course, so the sun be somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Pretty high up. Yeah, okay. Local time, it's before lunch, so you wonder if it's after 12 o'clock already. The sun, and we are heading north, the sun should be there. But it is there because we don't have the local time, but we have Berlin time. So after local time, it would be maybe something like 10 o'clock.
Auf E-Motoren wechseln.
Hey Josh, nice to have you in the stream again. That was a weird effect because there seems to be some delay in the chat. Because just in 1 second I got both of your remarks, Josh, and the answer of weight loss. So interesting. Yeah, but great to have you in. Haven't seen for a while. So how are you doing?
35 Meter.
Yeah, if you put in some sugar or honey after the fermentation, that's actually how I used to get the carbon dioxide into the beer, like putting a little bit of sugar into each bottle and then closing the bottle and let it ripen for another 3 weeks, and then you get some little bit of fermentation again and you get actually the bubbles into the beer. But I think that's not what you would like to have for meat, right? Yeah, you have to make sure that you just put in a very small and controlled amount of sugar. Yeah, it does, yeah. Yeah, by the way, Josh, so you still had issues on PlayStation for a while? So I heard kind of, yeah, different feedbacks, so... But lately, or since quite a while, I heard that it was pretty alright in terms of bugginess. So again,
Ja?
the wind speed is 11 knots. That's relatively moderate. So, there we have. Nice. We have contact. we have a contact. North, northeast, one single unit at, yeah, some considerable range, but not too far away. Should be easy to get. So let's mark it there. And yeah, it's probably a single merchant. Contact number 1.
Herr Kanoy?
No. Yeah, let's finish the hydrophone check for the 5 minutes, just in case that we might pick up any further contact. And then get back to the surface. Yeah, as you see, we have the full 90 miles of range. Yeah, if you have tough weather up there, if there is a thunderstorm going on and wind speeds of 24 knots or something, then this really reduces your hydrophone range even down at 50 meters, because you get a lot of noise from the surface. Oh yeah, you actually did that. Yeah. So you could also get these kind of yeasts for beer. And yeah, I heard these kind of beer being called barley wine. And I once tried it with a friend who was also doing home brewing. But yeah, well, in terms of beer, I was not that fond of it. Like, yeah, these kits, yeah. I actually once tried one for Foster's Lager, the Australian beer. Somebody gifted me such a pre-made kit, and it didn't work actually. So in total, I think I did something like, say, 15 times of real home brewing, and only once something went wrong. And this one single time that I used one of these pre-made kits, it somehow didn't work.
Auf Dieselmotoren wechseln.
Okay, there we are.
Herr Kanoy wird aufgetaucht.
Back to the surface. That ship must be somewhere there, but of course still far out of reach. Yeah, right. Eisbock in German. You would call it. Yeah. About distillery, yeah. Yep. Yeah, I'm not that fond of these high alcoholic beers. But, well, I think for mead it might be something different. Problem, well, for German strong beers, like if they are up to 8 or 9%, I often don't like them because they are kind of too sweet. So they often counter the high amount of alcohol with more remaining sugar. And so when these strong beers are also so sweet, then I don't really like them. Yeah, fond of my eyesight. Exactly. That's why I would never do distilling by myself. What I quite like actually is IPA. IPA also has sometimes 6, 7. Yeah, well, 6 is not that much, but I think you can get the IPA with up to 8% of alcohol. But then they are, pretty, herb. How would you call it? Not sweet. Pretty unsweet, let me put it like that, in the lack of the proper vocabulary. And having a lot of hops, and not only bitter hops, but also the aroma hops. And so, when talking about higher percentage beers, IPAs are actually my favorite because I really love this strong flavor of hops and malt, and that's what you usually get with IPAs. So now let's go flank and let's do a little bit of dead reckoning. Let's assume that this is just an ordinary ship. Then it would be moving with something like 8 knots. So after 1 hour they would be there, and us moving for 1 hour. Now we are going flank speed. This will be something like 17 knots. So in the end, maybe we should just go for half an hour. Now it's 2:15. Let's go until 2:45 and then do another hydrophone check. At the moment we have no idea which course they are taking, so they might be just somewhere on the circle, and we're still not sure whether they are really going 8 knots. Might also be one of the fast movers with 10 knots, or maybe even 12 or 13 knots. Yes, yeah. I mean, the Groll, I don't know them actually, but I pretty much love to drink Grolsch. Yeah, when we had our high time of going to all the pubs in Düsseldorf with friends, there were a few pubs where you got Grolsch, but not this Canon one, but just the ordinary Grolsch lager. And I pretty much liked it, but I haven't been drinking it for years. For a sentimental reason, I still have this kind of cap of a Grolsch bottle here, tied to my bookshelves. It's over there. The plug bottle, yeah. Okay, here I get some kind of weird message. Automod held a message for reason. Smart detection. Allow will post it to the chat. Okay. Okay. Okay, so so the plub was kind of banned or blocked. So it seems like we should not discuss bands like Murderhead in the chat. Well, give it a save and then go for the chase. So we only have one data point now, and so we go for half an hour, do another hydrophone check, and this will give us a second data point, and then we have an idea of their course and an estimation of their speed actually.
Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
There we are. Nothing to be seen visually on the horizon, so let's do another hydrophone check
Tauchen auf.
and see where they are.
50 Meter.
I remember when I was in the UK back in the days that it was like, yeah, it was pretty unlike Germany. In Germany, if you buy beer in the supermarket, it's much cheaper than in the pub. And I think I remember that it wasn't like that in UK, but that if you bought alcohol or beer in the supermarket, it was almost the same price as you as if you buy it in the pub. So I thought that was quite some incentive not to drink on your own at home, but drink in company at a pub.
Handelsschiff. Peilung 350 Grad. 35 Meter. Herr Kaloi?
Okay, there she is. Single merchant 01, and yeah, it is actually moving relatively slow. 4 miles in half an hour, so they are actually moving with something like 8 knots, which is fine. And let's extrapolate their course. So it would be something like that, and
35 Meter.
now they're here. In another hour they would be there. And what about us? In 1 hour, yeah, we could.
30 Meter.
So in half an hour we would be here. Not quite. Yeah, somewhere there. And them, half an hour would bring them there. So let's do it half an hour wise.
Kurs setzen.
So let's continue till 3:15. Question is whether we would do another hydrophone check then. Ah, shit. Yeah, we are still doing the hydrophone check. So
Herr Kaloi?
yeah, no more contacts obviously, but this one is fine. Let's see that we can sync it. Well, of course, first we have to check its nationality to see that we don't sink any neutral ship. Or we could even board it and do some inspection. So let's see. I mean, if it's an enemy ship, we wouldn't board it, but still, at least in the beginning of the war, there was the possibility to signal them to give up and abandon the ship, and sometimes they do that, so you don't have to fire a single round. Then you can get on board when
Kaloi, wir sind aufgetaucht.
the crew abandoned the ship and sink it with explosives or by scuttling if you have the skill. On we go. And by now we should even be in visible range, right? 5 miles. Do we see? Yeah, see, there is the smoke on the horizon. So, Captain, please, to the conning tower, to the bridge, And let's do some observation.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
There they are. At something like 60 degrees. Let's see if this is consistent. Yep, it is more or less. Shall we try to get another data point? Yeah, why not? We're not in a hurry. And yeah, we still have plenty of daylight.
Tauchen auf 35 Meter.
So let's get another data point and do another hydrophone check. Yeah, talking about Grolsch, the Dutch beer.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5
Auf
Meter.
E-Motoren wechseln.
I think that something like 20 years ago or something, there was a big explosion of a fireworks factory in the Netherlands, and it was pretty close to the Grolsch brewery, or to one of their sites. And I think that brewery got severely damaged by that accident in the fireworks factory. I heard something like that. I hope that it's not just some kind of an urban legend. I'm gonna have to Google if it's true, or say if reliable sources would confirm that story. But I heard something like that.
Ja,
Okay, there they are. Another data point there.
30 Meter.
Single merchantman number 1. So this must be roughly the course. So it's pretty helpful if you front up have a good idea of the target course by hydrophone checks. That enormously helps you with targeting your torpedoes finally.
Herr Kaloy,
Aktuelle Tiefe 30 Meter.
Yeah, that one with the ceramics top. With the ceramics top and the gasket.
Torpedorohr 1 gewartet.
Meanwhile, that's widely spread in Germany. Particularly southern small breweries use these bottles with this. Do you actually get that in Great Britain, in the UK? Grolsch. So we are fine with food. Discipline is going down because we are down to fatigue of -8. So I might want to have a third type of food offered to the crew to increase the morale. Let's do it. Ah, nice. Yep. Yeah, I pretty much like it, but I have to admit I haven't drunk it for years.
Ich vermisse das Essen meiner Frau. Sie macht die beste Sauerkrautsuppe. Das hier ist gut, aber es ist nicht das
Okay. So there was just a sailor lamenting about that he's missing the food his wife prepares. And yeah, he was in reverie for her kraut soup, actually. Cabbage soup, sour cabbage, sauerkraut. I guess you would know the term even in English, right? That's also something that you can beautifully do by yourself. So I've been doing quite a bit of sauerkraut in the last years in little potions. Are they okay? That's amazing. That would actually be the least beer of a nation that I would drink. I mean, I know that I love British beer, Scottish, like, yeah, say generally UK beers are great, particularly ales, it's what I like. The Irish just as well. Yeah, the Belgian beers, they are kind of special in a way. And yeah, a lot of also good beer in Germany, or especially Czech, the Czech pils I love. But Italian wouldn't be the typical beer, what I would think of, I have to admit. Any name? So now let's get to the guys. So if he's going on for half an hour, he will be there. And if I go on,
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
yeah, let's carry on. At one point in time, we have to. Do we really have to dive? I mean, not really, right? We just want to intercept the guy. And we are gonna try to make the crew abandon the ship if it is an enemy ship. If it's neutral, we are gonna board and check it. So us going for half an hour. Yeah, we would be easily intercepting that guy with our 16, 17 knots that we do. Yeah, the red rubber gasket, yeah. Yeah, when I was young, like 16 years old, these rubber gasket bottles, they were pretty rare around where I grew up. And the only beer that we got there was Flens, the Flensburger, which was very popular with us because there was some comic strip which we all loved, and in this comic strip that was about some biker guys, and they were continuously drinking Flensburger, this beer the only one that we knew which had these rubber gasket tops, which make that wonderful sound of plop when you open it. Yeah, later actually they invented an own brand of beer. Yeah, they do now, but in the past, in the beginning of that comic strip, it was not Bergstoff, it was invented afterwards. So that brand of Bergstoff was introduced sooner or later, but in the very beginning, it was Flens. I'm pretty sure that it was actually called Flens in the early comic strips. Yeah, but later actually it became the Bergstoff. Yeah, but that was the reason why Flensburger beer was pretty popular with us back then, if we could get it.
Schornsteinrauch. Peilung 45 Grad.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I still have one of them on my bookshelf here as a little reminder to the wonderful time that I had back in the days in Düsseldorf. Funnel smoke spotted, we could report it. I usually never do the report front up because I always have the gut feeling that if I send this report of spotting an enemy, the enemy might kind of intercept my radio message, and even if it would be coded, he would still recognize me being around because he might recognize that that radio signal was originated from not too far away. Yeah, and in the south, in Bavaria, it's very popular, so most of the local breweries use them. And what is it? I think also the Hackabschor, pretty much like the beers of the Hackabschor Munich brewery, and they also have it on all of their bottles. Or from the Allgäu. So where I come from, that's not so popular to have these kind of stuff on the bottles. And I think it came more and more into fashion. Let's do a bit of time acceleration. Wonder if the guy...
Handelsschiff in Sicht. Peilung 55 Grad.
Yeah, but no need to go for alarm at the moment. 55, where is it? There it is. Of course, let's see. They might be armed nowadays. Yeah, but still, they should be kind of recognizing a submarine being around. So if you want to sneakily approach them, the worst thing I think is what you can do to send a radio signal to the headquarters before you start your approach. No, I am actually considering to to dive. Yeah, let's first stop the alarm and get to periscope depth.
Auf Seerohrtiefe.
Yeah, triangulation, yeah. So let's get down to periscope depth and see that we close in finally. Sneakily, you never know. I'm not yet quite sure which type of ship it is, so you, meanwhile, that late in the war, you might always have to be aware that the ships might actually be armed, and even a harmless transport with 1 or 2 deck guns could be a severe hazard to a submarine. So it's no match going for a surface attack against an armed merchant. Doesn't make much sense. So the submarine is so fragile. Here we are. Some water in the bilge. Yeah, that's just some water dripping in naturally. No reason to worry. The discipline, yeah. And now, what about the maintenance condition of the torpedo? So torpedo tube 2 might like to get some maintenance. Okay, but Mr. Schneider is just about to do maintenance on the stern torpedo, which is alright. So let him just finish it. We still have some time until we get close. So at that distance, I think it's not much risk yet to get detected. Hey, oh yeah, there they are. Yeah, magnification is less with the periscope, I guess. Is it?
Torpedorohr 5 gewartet.
So, Mr. Schneider, please go for torpedo tube 2 next. Hey Tom, sorry, I have been watching the YouTube chat for a while, so don't know how long it is ago. Hope that you're still there. Thanks very much for the comment. That's so nice. And hey, thank you very much for the follow. Wonderful. Much appreciated. So sorry that I'm just reacting so late. I really don't know. I should get some sound signal, a ping or something, at least for the follow, but I just didn't. So if you're still there, thanks a lot. Great to have you in. Hey Josh, that's amazing. I didn't know that this would happen. Yeah, there is so much realism, so much features actually being heated in the game. Wouldn't have thought that you could actually damage your own boat by initiating an explosion on the other. Yeah, that's great. That's what I love about the game, that you have this interactivity.
Torpedorohr 2 gewartet.
There we are, getting closer. Yeah, okay. So 60 degrees. Let's give it another plausibility check. 50. Okay, so they must be somewhere there. Let's just mark it like that for quick notice. And if my figures are roughly correct, they should pass within a mile if I carry on like that.
Halbe Fahrt
Let's
voraus.
reduce speed.
Kleine Fahrt
Yeah,
voraus.
maybe even further. Let's just go slowly ahead and observe their position relative to ours. And by the way, give it another save. So guys, I just see the number of watches going up. That's great. Don't be afraid, you're completely anonymous. I just see the numbers. And if you like to stay anonymous and just watch and lurk, that's perfectly fine for me. But besides, please feel also encouraged to join the chat and tell us where you're from, what your experience with the game is, or what you think about me and my stream here. And yeah, just any feedback is welcome. Great to have you in, guys. So we are approaching this one. I am actually a bit unsure what type of ship it is. Yeah, one of these old school classical freighters. I think I don't have to be afraid of any deck gun on this one. It's not this one. Well, let's get a little bit closer. I'm not yet quite sure if it's this one or this one. My guess is that it is this one. Yeah, let's mark it for now. We know the velocity. It's 1, and we also can estimate the angle on bow if it's at 65 degrees. It should actually be there. angle on bow then would be 25 degrees. Estimated 25 degrees. And the distance, let's do the guess from our dead reckoning on the map. So the distance would be pretty exactly 2 miles. What if I just enter 2? Nope. 2,000 meters. 2 miles would actually be 3,600, right?
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren.
Yeah,
Entfernung 3600 Meter. Winkel 2,5 links. Geschwindigkeit 8 Knoten.
And what, it was not a mission? Like, yeah, you probably know that mission where you should inspect some floating U-boat. And this one you found just without getting such a mission. That's amazing. Hey, which one is it? It's UK, okay. Yeah, it's this one for sure. Yeah, I think I'm not gonna waste a torpedo on this one. Let's get closer and then let's get to the surface and see if we can make the crew abandon the ship. Or otherwise I would try to sink it with the deck gun. But not wasting a torpedo on that. So where are we? 60 degrees. Let's do another check. So, yeah, let's still assume that my figures are all right. Roughly, that would mean that by now they would close within a range of 8 cables. Give it another save. And nevertheless, let's briefly check the maintenance status of our torpedoes. Yeah, the tube 1. Yeah, let's give tube 1 a maintenance.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Jawohl, Herr Kaloi.
And maybe tube 3 just as well. If they can do both at the time. Actually, you have limited space there. This is also realistic, so you couldn't do a third maintenance at the same time. And if you do the maintenance of this tube, you could do this tube. You could only do one of the opposite side. So maybe I would like to put Mr. Grade onto improved depth keeping, just to make sure that we don't broach the surface accidentally and have better depth keeping, not giving away our position prematurely. Still 60 degrees, roughly. So let's hope that they're not going to start some zigzagging. And
Alle Maschinen stopp.
let's stop here. Estimated distance like that would be a bit more than 1 mile, and the angle on bow would be something like 29 degrees. What does it say? Something like that.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Gegnerlage 3-3 links.
And what would be the estimated distance?
Aktualisieren. Entfernung 2996 Meter.
Yeah, that's not quite in accordance with what I would get from the map. But yeah, well, it might be something like it. Something 1.5 miles. Hey, Quintongil, I'm not sure if I pronounce your name right, but sorry. It's great to have you back in the stream. And thanks for the comment. I always love it to get some feedback in the chat. So, I hope you are still there to hear my feedback. Great to have you in. That's much appreciated. Now we are on the final approach. And yeah, we could do some more maintenance. There we hear the propeller of that other ship vibrating or being amplified by our own hull. Yeah, please give me the maintenance of torpedo number 4. And maybe also number 2. There they are, coming in at 50 degrees by now. Like that. So let's guess them to be there. And let's guess the distance to be something like 8, 9, so pretty exactly 1 mile by now. Let's see if this is in accordance with our steady meter reading. Not quite.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren.
Not
Entfernung
quite.
2-2-4
45.
Meter. Gegnerlage 4-1 Bug links.
43, it would be the angle on, yeah, so the angle on bow looks pretty consistent by now. So let's
Kleine Fahrt
increase
voraus.
speed again a bit and get into them. I'm gonna try to fire 1 torpedo to do a little bit of training on that actually.
Torpedorohr 2, gewartet.
Maybe I should put down the periscope a bit. Well, it's hard to read the steady meter like that.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung 2077 Meter.
So a bit more than 1 mile. My gut feeling tells me that they are closer actually. So the angle on bow being 45 degrees. It's always a bit of guesswork, something like that.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Lage 5-4 Bug links.
35. $50. I think that's roughly all right. And the distance again.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel 1,657 Meter.
Okay, now I need my boson at the torpedo calculator.
Alle Maschinen, stopp.
Let's reduce speed.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Winkel 5-8 Bug links.
So one more reading of the distance.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel 1,475 Meter.
30 degrees.
Lage 5-8 links.
Like that. Let's keep checking the angle on bow. 53. I don't know how precise it is by now.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung 1,416 Meter.
Mr. Tremel is at the torpedo calculator. And now we are in the position to fire actually. Let's do one last distance check.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel 1,360 Meter.
What was it actually? Couldn't read it. Yeah, 70 degrees is alright. Makes sense. Makes perfect sense at the moment.
Kleine Fahrt voraus. Schussunterlagen aktualisieren.
I think it's even,
Entfernung 1,323
closer.
Meter.
I think it's even closer.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Entfernung 1, 2, 8, 2 Meter.
Alright, now I can go with that.
Rohr 1 bewässern.
I'm just firing one torpedo actually. What's the depth? The draught of the ship is, yeah, going for 8 is perfectly fine. And let's just give it one hit in the middle.
Los! Ja.
Let's hope that we didn't make any severe mistake in the calculation. It doesn't look too bad, but it could be that we are going too far ahead. Ah shit, I fear that this is gonna miss. This is gonna be a miss. Yes.
Der Torpedo ist auf halbem Weg. 40 Sekunden bis Torpedoeinschlag.
It's gonna pass ahead of them.
30 Sekunden. 20 Sekunden.
Oh shit, so it's so close.
10 Sekunden bis Einschlag. Fehlschuss.
Okay, that was a miss, but that might happen. It was pretty close, but it was a miss. Now we are gonna go
Halbe Fahrt. Voraus.
to the surface.
Anblasen.
Aktuelle Tiefe 5 Meter.
Ja. Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Herr Kaloin, wir wurden entdeckt.
Keine Panik. Konzentriert euch auf eure Aufgaben. Auf diese Motoren wechseln.
Rohr 1 geladen.
Now we can actually report the funnel smoke because we are spotted anyway.
Besetzen.
No, I wanna get them.
Kurs setzen.
Let's see if we can
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt.
signal them. Let's see if we can signal them to leave the ship.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
Yeah, the target is too far, but we are catching up. We are going flank, and that guy has a much lower maximum speed actually. There it is. What's their maximum speed? 10. So I'm not quite sure, they might go to maximum speed now.
Torpedo Rohr 1 bewacht.
Yeah, we should be soon in range to signal them.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Doesn't yet look like they are zigzagging. It's a British ship, so it's definitely an enemy and no neutral. That was clear since a while. We are moving too fast.
Kleine Fahrt voraus.
So let's go to Kleine Fahrt and see if we can make them abandon their ship. Communicate that we intend to sink the ship. After your crew sends the light signals that you're going to sink this ship, a commotion is quickly seen on deck. The crew is leaving the ship. Very good. So after having missed with one torpedo, we could now still save more. Save the game and send the crew over, or let's send an away team over. Send a team to the freighter, yeah. That's what we're gonna do. Mr. Grada, our chief engineer, we definitely need him because he has this ability to scuttle the ship without explosives. Nevertheless, as a backup, I always give him the first mechanic with some explosives and the bosun, well, and 6 crew hands. So let them get over. And around here, yes. Yeah, here, nice. You even see the... I was never aware. You even see the zodiac of the crew going over. That's so nice. Hey, where are they? Okay, that's a bit buggy. They seem to be submerging. Hey guys, where are you? Maybe they just arrived. Yeah, there they are. So, you're on the cargo ship's deck. Enter the deck house. Go to the captain's office. Well, nothing interesting here. Check the engine room. And scuttle the ship without using explosives. I'm not gonna inspect the cargo hold. Let's just sink them. Yeah, okay, there they go down. That's fast when you scuttle them professionally, and there are still 2 lifeboats floating. So let's see that we save these guys. So lifeboat 1. Let's first see after the lifeboat with the officers. 1, 2, 3, and get them on board. And now lifeboat number 1. Yeah, we just can take 8 sailors with us. So there we are, and the rest of lifeboat 1, they're getting some supplies. Yeah, giving them some extra bread, and this will increase our reputation actually. And manning the radio again, we can send this success report to the headquarters. There we are. So that was a relatively easy one. Okay, we could send a diver. No, I won't do that. Although I do have the equipment with me. Usually never do that diving stuff. Let's get a little bit further to the north and continue our patrol pattern. So that was nicely successful. Let's see what the overall tonnage is. So that guy had something like, I don't know, 3,000 tons. I would estimate from the increase of that number. was good. So allow me to step away from keyboard just for 1 minute. Be back. Ah, shit, not that I run them down. That's really something that I don't want to do.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Oh shit.
Kurs
No.
auf diese Koordinaten
To
setzen.
do it like that. Oh no. So will this actually reduce my reputation? I rammed the life raft and the guys went overboard after I had given them rations. Oh god, guys, please nobody tell that back at home.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Yeah, but as I said, allow me to be AFK just for 1 minute. All right, back again. Thanks for your patience. Hey, Bov Trouty, sorry, I was just AFK briefly for a human need. Nice to have you in, and yeah, thanks for participating in the chat. Hey, weight loss, yeah. Yeah, but Bov Trouty, the first person mode is awesome. I mean, I love this game, but I never dare to actually do the purely first person mode. And even the developers say that they don't recommend it because it's not yet in a state that you have it playable. But in this mode that I play the game, I say it's the best U-boat sim that we ever got. It's just great. It's so amazing, so many features. Not quite sure how long you are watching it, but if you do have a fable for U-boat, submarine simulations, naval simulations, generally simulations, this one here is really great. I would recommend it. Well invested money. Yeah, no, I don't get paid by the developers, but it's just so great. Yeah, I've been looking into War Thunder just a bit, but I never played it by myself, I have to admit. And yeah, I think War Thunder is more arcade in comparison to this one here, which is not arcade at all. So if you're looking for quick action, then U-Boat is not the right game. But if you bring some patience, you get some great immersion because so many features are actually simulated in the game. Yeah, you have all the crew management, you have the officers and yeah, certain jobs of the officers, so radio men, mechanical guys and the discipline guys and everything. Have you? Wow, okay. So no offense, please. I don't want to put down that game, particularly because I never dived into it much. So, yeah. Yeah, you do have some leveling up here for the crew, and like if you look at it, you could get some additional skills for your crew with leveling up. Choose from them. And well, I'd like to briefly show what it is about. We are on a patrol. We just sank. I don't know, did you already watch how we sank that British ship? Or did you come in later? So, our mission at the moment is to patrol this area and to spot and find enemy ships, which is pretty tricky because, yeah, encounters are not scripted, but yeah, it's an open world and there is convoys passing in this open world somewhere and you actually have to find them. And one way to find them actually is doing hydrophone checks. Yeah, okay, so you were something like 5 minutes too late. We just sank one ship back there. And yeah, like this is how it works. I did a hydrophone check and recognized the contact there, moving propellers, moved to the direction, did a second hydrophone check half an hour later, getting a second data point of their position, extrapolating their course and speed, and then intersecting with their course. And yeah, first I tried to torpedo them from the hiding, from being submerged, and yeah, that was just a close miss. So I got to the surface and luckily I was able to frighten them away, so the crew abandoned the ship and I just got on board and scuttled the ship. So that was an easy one, and now we are gonna continue.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Oh, it's okay. All right. Yeah, let's carry on. Accelerated time for a little while and then do another hydrophone check. But yeah, let's get away from this scene. Yeah, you see, at the moment we don't have full acceleration. Now we have.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
So let's have Mr. Trummel, our bosun,
Navigation besetzt.
do some navigation to increase our navigation correctness. And carry on. Yeah, maybe carry on until we reach that turning point. Change of watch. It is, yeah, 10 o'clock in the evening.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
let's do the hydrophone check. Yeah, it's late in the evening. The sun is setting. Actually, everybody has to keep in mind that the time is not the local time, but it is Berlin time or Greenwich time. I'm not quite sure. One of them. European time, actually. So what's happening? The depth steers are being manned. Somebody has opened the valves. The crew has run to the front compartment, at least the off-watch crew, and the ballast tanks. You see here, there, filled, and then we get down. So this is what I love about the simulation, that, yeah, it's not like you press a button and then the submarine, like a robot, does what you tell it to do, but you give orders and then the crew is actually executing things. So guys having to run towards the depth steers, manning it, one guy actually having to run for the valves to open them, and then it takes a little while until the ballast tanks are actually flooded, and then only then you get down. And of course, when you have a wing of enemy aircraft approaching, then this feels like it takes ages. Right here you see Mr. Schneider doing some maintenance now and then on the torpedoes. So here he regularly gets the torpedoes out to keep its maintenance level up, so this reduces the probability of having duds. Yeah, exactly. It just takes time. And you really see the crew executing stuff. So now I gave this automated order, like performing a routine hydrophone check, and this is just a standard workflow. Now the crew brings the boat to 50 meters, where we are right now, and stops the engines. And now the crew stays down here for 5 minutes. Mr. Hinrich at the hydrophone is doing some listening. We give him an additional hand to support him, which increases his range, detection range. And now being below the surface, 50 meters below the surface, away from all the surface noise, and having our own engines turned off, we have an enormous detection range. Like here, within something like 80 miles, we should be able to detect just any moving propeller. This is what you have to do regularly, and by this to track down enemy ships, enemy convoys, enemy single ships, merchant convoys, and man of war task forces. Just everything is on the move. And at the moment you see me cruising off the coast of Canada, which also takes quite some effort to get all the way from Europe over the Atlantic. I have positioned some resupply ships here, so some stealthy U-boats, submarines, where I can resupply, get fuel back, and then go into the target area. And yeah, here we have like 3 sets of missions. So first we had to do something like 25 tons, then 50, then 100,000 tons, and now finally we have to go up to 200,000 tons to be sunk in this target area to finally finish what is called Operation Drumbeat. Operation Paukenschlag it was in real life. So that's where we are at the moment. And yeah, in all this enormous range right now, it looks like there is no single ship. And then there is one other aspect. If you run into if you now listen to a single merchantman, you still don't know if it is enemy or neutral. So you would still have to get there, figure out, yeah, like looking at their flag, finding out their nationality, and then decide what to do. If it's enemy, you can sink it. If it's neutral, you could still board it and do an inspection. And if you find something suspicious, you could make them abandon the ship and sink it. And if you find nothing suspicious, it's pretty risky to sink it anyway, so better don't and just leave it alone. Or, yeah, you kind of get some international incidents, and that would decrease your reputation. Yeah, there we are, still down here, but no any hydrophone contact. At the moment. Hey, Bob Trotty. Thank you very much. That's great. That's so much appreciated. I'm just a small streamer, and I'm always feeling happy if I have a few more people following me. Yeah, that's what I do, why I do this stuff here. It's about, yeah, sharing my passion of gaming with you, having a little chat. And it's so nice that you guys actually appreciate what I do by giving me a follow. Thanks a lot. Yeah, well, yeah, just don't hesitate to stay here and watch it. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's a bit of money, but it's a small studio actually, so it's not one of the big ones. It's a small studio. It's a kind of an outsider's success. I think they make quite a bit of money with this game, but it's still some kind of it's an independent studio, and it's also some kind of, I would call it indie game. So I'm always happy to support these kind of small studios. I think it's just something like 5 guys doing the programming of that, and they, in the last 5 years, they really did a great job and brought this up towards a fully grown-up game. I mean, let alone look at the graphics. Look at the waves and how the bow cuts through the waves and the boat kind of goes with the waves. But meanwhile, we do have quite a swell. And the spray going up. Glimmering in the sun. I could watch that for hours. So the immersion of that game is just great. Just depends on what you like. I well understand that some people might say this is boring. But yeah, for me, I love it. And as I also love streaming, and streaming not just for the sake of gaming, but also for the sake of communication, this game has its periods when it's really action-packed, and it also has its periods when there is just some nice free time to have a little chat with the chat. Yep. I think they really did a good job about the graphics. I like it. And I also like this concept that you have this cross-section graphics. This is, I think, the first time that you have that in a submarine simulator, right? And yeah, what you could still do in this mode is you still could go to first person, but you don't have to. I guess it's pretty hard if you would go to first person only. It might be pretty tough. So I love these details. The bow torpedo tubes and the crew berths and the bunks. And you see the off-watch crew actually taking a rest. Now here also, this is the officers' bunks, and we have Mr. Preen and Mr. Schneider who are off-watch at the moment. So Mr. Schneider, our second mechanic, Mr. Preen, our second radio man, and Mr. Grade, our chief engineer. The officer's mess and the comfortable captain's bunk with maximum privacy. You see the curtain. And the hydrophone, the radio. Yes, yeah. And that I love about the game, to put up these schedules and everything. Mr. Rossmann, one of the crewmates, at the helm. The petty officers, bunks and mess. And the galley. And the big baby, the diesels.
Wir sind aufgetaucht.
Electric engines, and back here the compressors, which are pretty important, and they are turned on now that we are back to the surface to refill our compressed air, which we need to empty the ballast tanks actually. Get up. So here we are with the periscope, attack periscope, and yeah, some gauges and the torpedo calculator. And of course we can get up further. And here we are. I think the sun is hidden behind that cloud over there. And there we go, that's the Watch 2 crewmates scanning the horizon. Now, meanwhile, I am pretty comfortable to be captain of the Type 7C submarine, where we even have 2 air guns, and we can't see it from here, the deck gun in front. So, yeah, that is a little tour around the boat. And all these details, which I love. Now we just have to make sure that Mr. Trummel goes back to off watch.
Zeit für eine Auszeit.
And here he is back in the watch roster. Yep. Yeah, so for now, no contacts. By the way, now that we mentioned that about the roster, you could actually schedule 3 shifts, like at least I do it. You could do it pretty much different, but I have 3 shifts. That's actually how they did it in the old days of the Age of Sail, like going for 8 bells, which is 4 hours on watch, and then having off watch, and watch group number 2 takes over, and then watch group number 3 takes over, each for 4 hours, which means each single group has 4 hours of watch and 8 hours of off watch. And yeah, I defined 3 watch officers, which is Mr. Arles, Mr. Grade, and Mr. Trummel, and they have their watch periods aligned with the teams. And additionally, I have Mr. Arles, Mr. Hinrich and Mr. Preen. They are both my radio officers, and they just do 12-hour shifts. And yeah, they're just 2, so 12 hours one guy, 12 hours the other guy. And Mr. Schneider, he's just free. He's my second engineer, so that he's always free to do maintenance on the torpedoes. And the captain, Mr. Lamprecht, is also just available for anything. Yeah, so that's it. By the way, let's see, the wind speed is 12 knots. That's, yeah, intermediate winds. But we do have quite a swell, actually, quite some wave. But yeah, well, it's the Atlantic. So it's supposed to be a little bit wavy around here. Let's give it a save for now. And yeah, let's carry on our search for enemy ships. We are going cruise speed. Yes, let's find the enemy. I'm gonna do some time acceleration. By the way, yep. So every 4 hours we have change of watch, which means at 2 o'clock a different watch team. So now Mr. Garage takes over. And yeah, let's go for maybe another 2 hours, and then at 4 o'clock
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
let's do another hydrophone check.
Tauchen auf 50 Meter.
It's nighttime by now for the hydrophone check, that doesn't matter. But at night the crew turns on the red lighting because this slightly increases your vision at night. So you just saw Mr. Arles opening the valves here, the off-watch crew assembling a 4 to give additional diving ballast, and yeah, the ballast tanks are already filled. If we are fast enough we can actually see them being filled, but now we were just too slow for that. By the way, yeah, okay.
20 Meter.
No, that's perfectly fine. I'm pretty much aware of that. I'm clearly to be identified as German. Yeah, in German it's actually enemy is Feind.
40 Meter.
So that's they called this when the submarine went out to sea. They did call it Feindfahrt, which was something like having a trip towards the enemy. Find, yeah, friend. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's actually a false friend then.
50 Meter.
So now we are down at 50 meters. The crew is gonna stop the engines and we are
Ja?
listening. So fingers crossed. Sometimes you really have to travel for miles and miles and days and don't find any contact, and sometimes you run into one contact after the other. The mission intelligence
50 Meter.
front up, the briefing actually was that the area should be having a quite a high density of enemies around. So Bob Trouty, may I ask where are you from? Now that I did put my balls on the table and admitted that I am originally German. Ah, nice, Manchester. Yeah, all right. Yeah, great to have you in. So, welcome all the guys from Manchester. Never been there, I have to admit. But yeah, I haven't been visiting much of the UK. I've been to London just very briefly, actually once on a trip. I spent something like a year in Edinburgh, and on the trip to and on the trip back we passed through London. And when I was younger, I actually had the opportunity. My uncle had a little sailing boat, and yeah, once we sailed across the channel to Dover. So we spent one night in Dover back then. But so in the UK, I really just know Edinburgh pretty well. Okay, so you're more in Spanish, yeah? I would love to know a little bit of Spanish, but I don't know anything. Actually, English is the only foreign language that I am that I know. I have some very, 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 very basic French, but almost non-existent, and nothing else. So, yeah, nice if you also had the opportunity to dive a little bit into Spanish. Pretty much like the language. If I had a choice and if I had plenty of time left, the next language that I would like to dive into would be actually Spanish. Same for me. More than French, to be honest. No offense taken to any guys from France watching, but yeah, I'm pretty much into the Spanish history, like the Age of Sail, say the 16th century, and that's what I quite like. Yeah, and Duolingo is quite some nice tool to do it by yourself. So did you actually have some basic Spanish at school as well? Okay, pretty much looks like there is no any contact around. Again, yeah, but that's how it is. Sometimes you do 2, 3, 4 hydrophone checks and don't get anything. And then suddenly you have loads of contacts and can't even make up your mind which one to follow. Yeah, I think German is relatively hard to learn, isn't it? I don't know, but I think from my feeling, French is also pretty hard. Particularly because of the pronunciation, and Spanish is easier from German's point of view. I would say it's easier in terms of pronunciation, in terms of understanding. And well, I think the German grammar is probably a bit challenging. But I just can't judge it, of course. But that's what I guess, that in comparison to most other languages, German is a bit awkward in terms of grammar. One word and 3 or 4 meanings. Yes. Yeah, look at that. Just give us a few seconds to see how beautiful the graphics actually are. The conning tower in the moon. Hey, Aqua Icing, nice to have you in. Good evening. How are you doing? Yeah, that's so nice, isn't it? It's summer, actually. We are off the coast of Canada in summer. Yeah, Aqua Icing, I'm fine. I'm pretty fine. So I had a relatively relaxed day at work. So as usual, on Friday I do home office. So I did today as well. Had quite a few, something like 5 online meetings. But still, it was relaxed. The meetings were good. And now, well, spent the evening with the family, and now I'm glad to have some time for my own, or let me put it like, have some time to share it with you in the stream. So, as usual, at that time, I am pretty glad and happy to have all of you guys in. And I even had 2 comments in the YouTube part of the chat. So the YouTube guys are not that chatty usually. But yeah, tonight I already had 2 comments. And there, hey, Quintergill. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna upload it. So, don't know if you're still there or if you already dropped out. If you're still there, thank you very much for being in. And yeah, have a good rest of the evening or whatever time of the day you have. So, see you then. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna upload that. Yeah, that was already the 3rd comment tonight on YouTube. Problem is that, yeah, kind of, yeah, my main focus, of course, is Twitch. And I do the streaming on YouTube in parallel now since something like 3 weeks. And yeah, I quite like it. I also get some nice feedback, but yeah, as I said, the YouTube community seems to be not that chatty. And this is what I really love about streaming, also to, well, use these kind of periods when you're just not finding any enemy and then just having a little chat with the chat. Let me be AFK just for 1 second. Or before I do that, let's give it a save, not to forget to give it some regular save, just in case that shit hits the fan and something really bad happens. Okay, back again. Yeah, yes, that's what people say. So I'm not that experienced in YouTube streaming. Yeah. But about voice chat, so is it like that you actually get, so people put in, so they type in their commands still, but you get them via voice chat, so somebody reads it to you? I mean, the KKI, artificial intelligence or whatsoever, is gonna read the commands of the chat to you aloud? Is it that what you mean? How it works, I actually I'm not familiar with that feature. Ah, yes, okay, yep. So I saw that also for Twitch streamers. I don't know how you could turn that feature on, but yeah, you would get, yeah, yep. Yeah, I always have a little bit of a bad conscience because I only now and then check the chat on YouTube. So guys, please, yeah, but I'm getting better. getting better in also checking you guys on YouTube. The best would be if we would have a joint chat of the YouTube and the Twitch chatters, but up to now I didn't find out whether you could actually do that. I think you couldn't. Yeah, let me briefly check my figures here. Yeah, nice. Nice. So, now back to the surface, and yeah, what else could we do then? Just carrying on. Flank speed. Okay, Crinny, alright. So Mr. Trumbull is officer of the watch, and as he is no technician, he can do something like caring for the map, increasing the navigation correctness up here to the top right. It's uncritical, but you should make sure that it never drops to 0. Hey, yeah, acquiescing, it's alright. I don't know how long you are in the stream. You probably missed that we already sank one British merchantman. It was a lone merchantman, and I nicely intercepted it and got in, submerged, and fired a torpedo at it, but I missed just barely. It went for the bows and missed, and so I got up to the surface, and it was pretty straightforward because I signaled them to leave the ship, and they did, so I could just board it and scuttle it. So that was the first kill in this mission. Might be a little bit longer ago than 45 minutes. If you missed it, I think you just missed it. Let's go on for another 4 hours until the next change of watch. Here we are. And yeah, let's go for another 2 hours. And when we have lunchtime like that, we are gonna do another hydrophone check. Quite a swell, look at that. 17 knots, yeah, now we have a bit stronger winds. The maximum that you get in the game is 25 knots. So you could figure out what 17 knots roughly is. Quite some waves already. So it might be that this is going to reduce our hydrophone check range, but however, let's do it. Let's do the hydrophone check. Now again, you will see the crew, off-watch crew, running to the front compartment. Will they? Hey guys, I don't see anybody moving. Mr. Grada opened the valves. Okay, so I accidentally pressed periscope depth, right? Guys, go for hydrophone check. It's shallow. Is it that shallow around here already? Can't believe it. Hey, look, it's only 20 to 50 meters down here. So that's why the crew doesn't bring us to 50 meters. So they heat the depth. And so we're just going pretty shallow.
10 Meter.
That's when we get to enjoy the lovely ocean views. Yeah, yes, exactly. So we are U-boat connoisseurs. Let me put it like that. So we are still not very deep. We have quite some wave. So probably the hydrophone check will not be very efficient, but let's do it anyway
Etwas Unterstützung.
and see, well, what's the range on these conditions. So they just stopped the engines. You see that with stopped engines, the hydrophone range does increase a bit. So I think we are going to end up towards something like 45 miles, which is still a decent range. So guys, fingers crossed that we spot something. Yeah, it would be time to spot something. Yeah, we already had this contact here and we sank it, but now I would like to get some more action, please. Yeah, amazing. It's so shallow around here, although we are still pretty far away from the coast.
Herr Kapitän?
But no contacts yet. Yeah, Boff Trouty, you were the 292nd follower. So I would be glad to reach 300. Yeah, let's see how long it would take.
Meter.
Yeah, there are a few guys watching, so don't feel observed, don't feel pushed. I just see the number going up, so glad to have you in. And yeah, I always like to try to encourage you to participate in the chat. Give us feedback about the game. What do you do? Do you play yourself? Are you just watching? Are you new in the game or are you an old salt? But yeah, it's perfectly fine. Don't feel pushed. It's perfectly fine if you just watch and lurk.
5 Meter.
And of course, maximum appreciation would be a follow, by the way. But as I said, just do as you like. Perfectly fine. Just having a few people in the stream watching makes a little streamer like me pretty happy. We have a little bit of water accumulated in the bilge, which is completely uncritical still, and this is also one of these nice features of the game, that you always have some kind of sneaky leaks, even though we don't have any real leak or damage. When you dive, you always have a little bit of water seeping in. I think maybe via the drive shaft.
5 Meter.
Hey, come on, still no contact.
Herr Kapitän?
Still no contact. Of course, one option would be to venture towards the port of Sydney and see if we can sink some ships there which are moored. But of course, this is always also a bit risky to get in there. Maybe I would like to try that. Yeah, so the crew is gonna do something like 5 minutes of hydrophone check. And then brings the boat back to the surface. Okay, so a bit surprised that we are not yet through that time period. Yeah, come on, for some whatever reason I have to do the surfacing manually. So you see Mr. Grade now switching the valves so that we now push compressed air into the ballast tanks to push the water back to where it belongs, into the open sea. And there we are, back to the surface. And carry on. Change of watch, and let's go for another 4 hours, and then let's do the next hydrophone check. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock rock.
Schornsteinrauch.
Ah,
330 Grad.
alright. Funnel smoke. So I need somebody
Melden Sie sich
on
zur
the
Wahl.
bridge. Three 30 degrees. Was it 3:30? I think it was. Ah, wow. Okay.
Alarm! Tanker! 325 Grad!
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
It's so close. That's amazing. So let's change course. Yeah, we don't need alarm at the moment, but stop direct orders. And maybe I would like to have the captain to have a cup of coffee.
Jawohl, Herr Kanal.
Ja. Bestätige.
All right. Single tank. The tankers are moving pretty fast usually. So now it's at 50 degrees. Yeah, meanwhile we have quite some heavy sea. And the tankers are monsters, so it would be great to sink that one. So it's there.
Rohr 5 gewartet.
Herr Kaloi, feindliche Schiffe machen sich gefechtsbereit.
Oh shit.
Zeit, unseren Mut zu testen, Männer.
So they spotted us. Yeah, let's see that we get that tanker with the deck gun. So now we can report the funnel smoke. We can go to flank speed
Voraus.
and see that we get close. You can't make I think you can't make the tankers surrender. You can't even board them. That's something, yeah, special. I would say it's a little bit of a bug on that they didn't yet implement it. But it's so long not implemented that you have the feeling that it might be a feature. But for me, it's not logical that you can board merchantmen but can't board tankers. Wow, look at that. Now that we are going flank in these waves. Okay, what do we get there? Okay, so that guy is actually radioing that he is under attack. Let's just hope that there is no air support inbound. Yeah, tankers could actually go pretty fast. So it might become a bit of a challenge to intercept that guy. Wow, now we have these waves, so it's pretty hard. It's a tanker. Let's see which one. Okay, it does have the funnel in the rear. Might it be this one? Might it be this one? I think it's this one, yeah, pretty clear. That one. Well, yeah, 20,000 tons, and what's the maximum speed? 16 knots. So it might become pretty tricky to actually catch up with this guy. But let's try it anyway. Let's give it a save. W211. And let's see what happens if we give it a little bit of time acceleration.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Okay, so they're trying to move away. So this is gonna be tough now to catch up with it. Let's give it one more save and let's see that we man the deck gun. But of course it would be great to get a little bit closer. The problem is that the guy is able to go 16 knots. And in this heavy waves, it looks like we are not even reaching our maximum of 17 knots. So, can we get closer actually? Yeah, man, the deck gun and see what we can do.
Deckgeschütz besetzen. Kurs setzen. Kurs setzen.
So we have very limited amount of ammo.
Herr Kaloin,
Kurs setzen.
Yeah, the guy is trying to get away. It's trying to get away. Let's see if we can give it a few hits. Wow. So the submarine is such an unsteady platform for the gun in these heavy waves. Okay, why can't I fire? Okay, I couldn't see if that was a hit. Oh shit, I just don't see if these rounds are homing in. It's high explosive, so I should see something. Yeah, I should have gotten in more sneakily. That's the problem. Waves, enormous waves. I'm not quite sure if any of these actually hit the target. So I think the guys are really getting wet, aren't they? Yeah, their problem is that they are gonna zigzag to avoid our torpedoes. Yeah, but the problem is that they spotted me. I was a little bit careless and they spotted me early, and now when they once have spotted me, it is pretty tough
Kurs setzen.
to actually home in a torpedo. Yeah, they can take a bath. That's just fine, yep.
Kurs setzen.
Herr Kaloy?
Might be that they're just moving faster than us.
Deckgeschütz besetzen.
Might be that they're just moving away. And I doubt that I did home any of the shots that I did yet. Okay, at least I saw the impact.
Kurs setzen.
Alright, That's so unsteady. I would need to get closer to home in a decent hit. But I can't get closer, but they're just moving too fast. That was too far. Fuck. Oh, I heard I shouldn't say words like that, because it would kind of reduce my credibility on YouTube. Oh shit, a miss. They're all going to miss. They're all going to miss. Off, bup. I'm down to 19 rounds. What's that? Ah, okay, change of watch.
Diesel besetzen.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
Yes, yeah, you're right. But they're just moving too fast. I think I'm not gonna be able to circumnavigate that guy. I could just reload and try it again, but I somehow object to try that. Oh, come on, if I only could score a few hits and slow them down. Well, water again. Oh, fuck. Pad up. $15 left. So maybe I should let it do my officer. Maybe he could do better. So, open fire. He is pretty experienced by now, so let's see if he can do it better than me. A miss. Yeah, he can't do it better. Another miss, yeah. The question is if I could do it with a sound-seeking torpedo.
Halten. Feuer. Halten. Feuer. Halten. Feuer.
Aha.
Feuer einstellen.
So that was a hit, was it?
Feuer frei.
Yeah. That was a hit. Nice. But I will soon run out of ammo. Maybe I did by now. Hey Pit, nice to have you in, that's great. Yeah, I saw that you were still online pretty late. Yeah, nice to have all of you guys in. So you see me in a desperate position right now because I wanted to go after that tanker, but it is actually moving faster than me, and in the heavy sea just don't get any clear target, and I'm out of ammo by now. Ah, shit. Shit. So what do you think, guys? Could I try it with a sound-seeking torpedo and fire it onto that guy? Yeah, anyway, Pit, it's so great. Thanks for the raid. Much appreciated to have you in. So how was your journey going on? You're still doing so, by the way, to anybody who might not know, Pit Pinsel, he's actually doing a hardcore stream on high difficulty level, and yeah, he's doing this commitment like when he dies. And not reloading like me. What I actually do, I'm trying to do the whole playthrough through the war, and when I actually die, when I miss it, I reload the game. And yeah, he's doing the hardcore Iron Man thing, starting anew when he gets sunk or the captain dies. So much respect for that. And so any estimations? I mean, this guy is moving away with something like 16 knots, so my fear is if I fire a sound-seeking torpedo, it would just run out of fuel before it actually reaches that ship. I think it's 19, right, Pit? I think when I watched your stream just briefly in the afternoon or in the evening, I think you were on run number 19 or stream 19. And yeah, that's pretty amazing, actually. I don't know if it makes any sense to further go behind these guys. By the way, what I need to do is, I, of course, need to go flank. And let's see what I can do. Yeah, sorry guys, I'll be AFK just for 60 seconds. Let's just see if we can do that. But might be that this is pretty pointless. Be back in a minute. Hey, okay, alright, Pit. Yeah, sorry, same sorry, I was just not in the kitchen, but yeah, following a human need. Yeah, but thank you. Thanks very much for being in the raid. And yeah, come on, what shall we do? Do we actually catch up with him? Or would it make sense to fire one? Yeah, come on, let's see that.
Kurs setzen.
We fire one sound-seeking torpedo on the guy. Maybe we can reduce his speed with that. Let's see. I think we have one sound-seeking torpedo of 4. So, if I mark Mr. Alles. Now, get out this one and get in, yeah.
Torpedorohr 4 gewartet.
Okay, now I have to get the torpedo
Natürlich, Herr
in.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle, Herr Kaloin?
Hey, I come. This is kind of buggy. So guys, any idea how could I change the torpedo? Get this one out, yes, and get the other one. Hey, why does this just not work? I always have problems with like this. You can load the torpedoes, that's perfectly fine. But if you have the wrong torpedo in the tube and want to put in another one, then it really becomes kind of tricky.
Rohr 3, entladen.
Alright, so, okay, maintain and load. Do it like that.
Folgen Sie mir. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Alright, now getting that torpedo in.
Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung.
And let's see if we can give it a fire. So, Mr. Trummer, if you were so kind and step to the torpedo calculator, and now there is the guy. Now this is gonna be tough to actually get a target at that heavy sea. There we have him. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's this one. It's going probably going with 16 knots. And the angle on bow is pretty much like something, yeah, like 100 whatsoever, 16, 60. Hey, Oblivion, nice to have you in. How are you doing? Where is the guy?
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Winkel 1, 5, 7.
And what's the distance? That's hard to say, but let's try to do it. Wow, in this heavy sea, it's so hard to guesstimate the distance with the steady meter. Oh fuck! But yep, I didn't want to say the word anymore. Okay, there we have it. So it's the
Aktualisieren. Entfernung 2.
okay, it is zigzagging definitely. Yeah, getting ready for bed, yeah.
Gegnerfahrt 1-6 Knoten.
Okay, yeah, right, sorry. You have to work tomorrow pretty early. So if it's 8 p.m., 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, okay, so it's 7 hours time difference. So are you, let me guess, situated in the middle of the US or maybe even the West Coast? So what is the draught of the ship? 7.1. Let's try. Let's try if we can track it down with one of our sound-seeking torps.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen. Ich benötige hier etwas Unterstützung. Bestätige.
Okay, from Canada, yeah, nice. But so you are probably closer to Vancouver than to Quebec, right? If we have 7 hours of time difference, am I right? It's just a guess, just an hopefully educated guess.
Rohr 3 bewässern.
Rohr 3 bewässert.
Tube 3? Yeah, that should be it. Let's go for tube 3.
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Lage 163 links. Aktualisieren. Lage 172 Bug links. Gegnerfahrt 1-6 Knoten. Los!
So now I am very curious if there is any point in this action here. What I just did.
Ja. Ja.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's quite some distance and the target is moving away with high speed. So might be that the torpedo is running out of fuel before we actually get close. And let's just hope that it's not turning around and homing in on us. Yeah, MRC, you're right, maybe. With this choppy sea. Yeah, it's magnetic still, but yeah, the draught of the ship is 7.1 and I put it to 7.5. Let's hope that it works, but you're right, the choppy sea is something I didn't take into account, but well, it has to home first anyway. So I would kind of doubt that the torpedo has enough fuel to actually reach that target, which is quickly moving away. But yeah, let's see. Let's see if this makes any sense. Yeah, the target is probably moving with flank speed, 16 knots. And the torpedo is moving with 24 knots, so it's not that much faster. But it's worth a try. You only learn when you try it. Yeah, but at least the main direction is still alright, but that doesn't look like the ship is coming closer. So I wasted 30 rounds of the deck gun on that guy and one sound-seeking torpedo. But yeah, that's it. I was a bit careless when I was approaching that ship. They actually spotted me too early. I should have been diving away early enough and so sneak upon them and sinking them from the hiding. Yeah, great. So if I would fire this kind of torpedo on that guy and it would hit, it would evaporate the whole sea, including me, being just by far too close. So right now still looks like, yeah, they are changing course a bit, which slows them down. Hey, fingers crossed that the fuel is sufficient for this fish.
Der Torpedo ist auf halbem Weg.
All this time and now it's only halfway. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. Fingers crossed that the fuel is sufficient. It is homing in. That's good. But hey, come on, I can't believe that it has so much fuel that it actually goes on and on. I feel that right before hitting the target, it's gonna run out of fuel. Or maybe you are right, MRC. The swell, the enormous swell, the choppy sea, will actually make the ship being just briefly lifted and the torpedo passing by underneath. And there we go. Fingers crossed, guys, fingers crossed. We are just about... Wow, will we? That would be too bad if we would just miss it now. Yeah, you can actually, well, usually it's not called prisoners in the game, but it's more like refugees. And you don't take them prisoner, but you save them. No, come on. Fingers crossed that this is gonna work. Minimal damage. Okay, minimal damage, but still. Okay, that was a hit.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Now I'm curious if the propeller's still working. If it would slow them down, yep. Alright. Propeller's not moving anymore. And there is a lot of blackened stuff around the stern. Yep. Looks like it slowed them down. Maybe we're lucky with that. Maybe we still have a chance to sink that guy. Let's give it a save, by the way. It would be nice if we had some rounds, some deck gun rounds left.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
I don't know, I have the suspicion. Yeah, my deck gun is out of rounds, actually. I wasted all of them on long distance in heavy sea. And I think, scored something like 2 hits or something. Launch potatoes, yeah. Yeah, but I do have torpedoes, actually. If it's not moving anymore, I can go in and sink it with another torpedo. That's the idea. At least it seems to be stationary by now. Let's hope that it sticks like that. Yeah, what I wanted to say is that sometimes I do have that suspicion that ships might also repair damages and that it might start moving again later. There we close in. All right. So it is 50 degrees. Let's slow down.
Voraus.
So it would be like that.
Kurs auf diese Koordinaten setzen.
Let's just go for it. What's the condition of the torpedoes? Maintenance status is... Well, let's give some maintenance on torpedo tube 2. And 3. Yeah, let's give it to 1. Yeah, at the moment it doesn't look too bad. I think it looks like we're gonna get that guy. Fingers crossed.
Äußerste Kraft zurück. eine Fahrt voraus.
Torpedo 1 gewartet.
Okay, no. Ramming speed, yes. Like on a galley. There is the guy with the drums. No, the speed. Ah, come on. Speed is 0. Angle on bow is something like 90 degrees, but it doesn't matter. And distance doesn't matter at all, just as well, but come on. Wow. That's pretty much of a pain in the ass, having this heavy sea.
Aktualisieren. Entfernung zum Ziel. 8, 3, 5 Meter.
So now,
Schussunterlagen aktualisieren. Winkel 8, 8, Bug links. Geschwindigkeit 0 Knoten. Rohr 1 bewässern.
Rohr 1 bewässert.
Los! Rohr 2 bewässern.
Rohr 2 bewässert.
Los! Sekunden bis Torpedo einschalten. Ja. 30 Sekunden.
it's gonna be a hit, isn't it? The guy is already sinking. So that's a bit of a waste of torpedoes. No, it's not. It's not.
20 Sekunden.
Hey! Okay, you were right about that. So that guy just went underneath.
10 Sekunden bis Einschlag. 20 Sekunden. Feindliches Schiff getroffen. Feuer an Deck. Schwere Schäden. Fehlschuss.
Okay, we are so close. Do we get damages from that? Let's give it a save. I think that was... Alright, that was sinking the guy. Yeah, there is an achievement for ramming, yeah. But I think I never got it.
Ja.
Would be interesting to see what that other torpedo is up to right now. Is it going to turn around sooner or later? Well, let's see. Of course. I'm missing that one. Wasn't too relevant. Yep. And ramming.
Evakuiert das Schiff.
Yeah, ramming a ship is so risky. I mean, the submarine is such a fragile piece of equipment. So actually just ramming one of these enormously large merchantmen, you could just lose. Hey, one lifeboat is too far away. That's a bit weird, isn't it? I'm so close. Okay, no possibility actually to invite anybody on board because I'm already full. Give them supplies, yes. Gives us a little bit of improved reputation. And yeah, let's carry on.
Halbe Fahrt voraus.
Unless you want to train your repairman, yeah. Yeah, ramming a tanker is not a good idea, actually. But yeah, that was great that we finally managed to get that one down. Let's hope that this was quite some amount of tonnage, actually. Guys, please don't run into... We are moving too fast, okay.
Kleine Fahrt voraus. Ja,
Still, let's check the course of that torpedo. It's still moving away. I thought that at some point in time it would just turn around. It was one of these kind of torpedoes. They need more training. No, aqua icing. I'm not giving my guys this opportunity of training. Lifeboat 1 also gets some supplies. Here we are. Yeah, we got that tanker. That was great. Yeah, I didn't think that we would accomplish that one. He was moving away so fast. So nice. Pretty lucky that I actually did put one of the sound-seeking torpedoes to the 4 torpedo storage tubes.
halbe Fahrt voraus.
I never much thought that it would make sense. Okay, it's not yet registered. It still has to sync.
Ich könnte etwas Hilfe gebrauchen.
Yeah, come on. It has to go down by now.
Kleine Fahrt voraus.
Give it a save again and then do a little bit of time acceleration so that we really see that we get accounted for that kill.
Ein weiterer Tag, eine weitere erfolgreiche Unternehmung.
All right,
Macht weiter so.
so
Alle
we
miteinander.
can report this to the headquarters, and I think this was enough tonnage to finish that mission, that particular mission that I'm on. Reported to the headquarters. Gives me quite some budget.
Funktelegramm gesendet.
All right.
Ja,
Canned bread. Do I want to pick that up? Well, I could. Why not?
alle Maschinen stopp.
Why not picking that up? canned bread. Ah, there we have it.
Wie lauten Ihre Befehle,
Mr.
Herr
Trummer.
Bestätige.
Wow. Oh, come on. That's a whole lot of stuff. So let's get it. That's not too bad. Now this is a bit of an ordeal. But let's get it to the stores. That really matters.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Leun.
There we go. And get the rest.
Natürlich, Herr Leun. Bestätige. Bestätige.
Yeah, still some floating containers. Get it to the galley. Alright, and get the remaining stuff.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Leun. Jawohl, Herr Leun.
Alright, so more containers, get them on board. Let's see if it is an
Herr Leun.
equally large.
Jawohl.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. I never had that much floating cargo before.
Bestätige. Bestätige.
I don't know if this is really necessary, but we never know how much food backup we get. at the milk cow. And later in the war, as I heard from reliable sources, food might become pretty rare.
Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin. Betrachten Sie es als erledigt, Herr Kaloin. Wird erledigt, Herr Kaloin.
What's cooking? Yeah, nothing in real life, but in game. We have bread, bacon, and cheese.
Herr Kaloin. Bestätige. Natürlich, Herr Kaloin. Jawohl, Herr Kaloin. Jawohl, ich kümmere mich darum.
Yeah, bring it to the galley, please. Yes.
Jawohl.
All right, so
Halbe Fahrt
got
voraus.
that floating cargo, and we are gonna save the game, and we are gonna take a look at the time, and it's 20 to 4 o'clock in the morning around here. So yeah, I think this is a good time to call it a day, or maybe I should better say call it a night. And so if anybody of you is fond of my other favorite game, Fresh Z, so please, I'm not now gonna rate one guy that I like pretty much for his streams on day Z. So would be great if you have just a few minutes left to join that stream. Yeah, I really need to get to bed now. But let's still do that little raid. And go for him. So guys, it was a pleasure. Thanks for having you in the stream. That was great, and now would be just nice if you support me and that guy. We are just about to raid and stay in for at least a few more minutes until we have done the raid. And if you feel like that, even look at that nice stream that this guy, Mr. Fresh Z, is doing on day Z. Here we go.
too shabby, eh? Hey, Josh. What's up, dude? Coming in with a big raid? What's up, Josh? Thank you so much, man. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, Raiders. Trust you were having a good night on UBOAT. If I'm not mistaken. Everybody's having a good Friday night. We just got the storm dropped on us. We're out in the middle of nowhere. We were searching for the outpost while we were waiting for the storm. We did some fishing, and now it's dark. And now we've got to navigate. At least we're trying to find the outpost, but I'm not sure we're going to find the outpost. I kind of thinking I want to get off this ice. How was your night, Josh? Doing some UBO, like I thought. We're out here navigating without a compass, but we know that the snow drifts to the north. So if we sit and watch a minute, there you go. You see it going. Here it is. I just saw one there. I think we're headed north. Yeah, there's one right there. So if that's north, then we need to go east. But maybe we'll find it if we go north again for a little bit. Sunk 2 ships, 1 big baby, a tanker, nice. Yes, the mouse gun Wildlands. Do some Wildlands Deer Isle soon. Very nice. Yeah, this is the Christmas server. This is Primal Power's Christmas the Mouse that we are collaborating with him. So it's Primal Power's his server, his Christmas server, and we're hosting it and managing it and all that fun stuff. It is difficult. But not too bad. We got wipes coming up on Deer Isle and Livonia on the 4th of December. DayZ is releasing, well, they're scheduled to release the hot fix for 1.28. And they're recommending that we wipe, so we are going to do so. So a fresh start is coming on the Livonia and Deer Isle server. Livonia is getting winterfied. It's going to be a cold winter on Livonia. And a lot of new stuff added, a lot of new features. That's our organic RP server, but there's a lot of cool things happening on Livonia. And we got a big community run coming on December 6th. So 2 days after the wipe on that Saturday, we have an open server event, and we're going to have a bunch of people come on, and we're going to introduce our Christmas village that is currently underway, being worked on right now. And we're going to have a fun little contest for all those who make it to the Christmas village on the server. So that's December 6th. Winter Livonia. So I'm kind of wandering around out here now. I have no idea where I'm at. All I know is to get back I need to go that way. Back I need to go that way. But I am still looking for the outpost. Still looking for the outpost. Better turn east. Better turn east. Going too far. I don't want to keep going too far north.